Tom Baker's role as the fourth Doctor Who was legendary, both for its long duration and for the sustained high quality of his performances. Between 1975 and 1981, he appeared in 41 stories, made up of 172 episodes. But which are the best? I just finished watching them all for this channel, so now I feel qualified to pick out the 10 best stories from the whole run. I'll go through them in chronological order rather than ranking them. At this level I couldn't really choose between them. They're all very high quality and well worth seeing. First, The Ark in Space, from season 12 in 1975. This was the second story for the fourth Doctor, but it makes for a really good introduction to the show. The first episode is just a new Doctor and his companions Sarah and Harry investigating an empty space station, and it's a great showcase for the three of them. Their chemistry and interactions really make them a standout TARDIS team. The rest of the story plays out like a PG version of Alien, with the insectoid Wirren taking over human bodies. Some of the effects have dated, but if you can get past that, then it's a good solid story. Next up, Genesis of the Daleks. Again from season 12, this has the same cast travelling to Skaro on a mission to stop the Daleks from ever having been created. And it's one of the best Dalek stories for the entire run. You get to see them evolve from mindless war machines to the unstoppable alien force that they are in all the other stories. Plus you get Michael Wisher's excellent performance as Davros, the creator of the Daleks, and some of the best dialogue in the show. Tom Baker's Doctor really comes into his own here, with some excellent comedic scenes, as well as some high drama as he tries to decide if he has the right to commit genocide. Definitely one of the very best Doctor Who stories. Pyramids of Mars is next from season 13, still in 1975, which was an excellent year for the show. This has the Doctor and Sarah, Harry's being left behind now, trying to stop the evil god Sutekh for the first time. It was recently turned into an episode of Tales of the TARDIS, cut down a bit with some new effects added, but it still works. It's a solid story with some memorable imagery, such as the walking mummies, and a chilling performance from Gabriel Wolfe as Sutekh, which of course he recently reprised in the current show. Next up, The Brain of Morbius, from later in season 13 in 1976. This has the Doctor and Sarah up against a mad scientist, a coven of witches, and a hideous patchwork monster, which makes it sound like a Hammer horror, but it's all set on an alien planet, with the brain of an evil Time Lord manipulating events for his own ends. It's arguably the pinnacle of the gothic horror era of the show, full of creepy moments and great performances from the entire cast. Next is The Deadly Assassin, from season 14 in 1976. This is the only story featuring the fourth Doctor with no companions, as he's summoned back to Gallifrey and has to deal with the crisis involving the Time Lords. It's very different from the usual style, with lots of political manoeuvring, interspersed with violent scenes in the virtual reality environment of the Matrix, and it's about as adult as Classic Who gets. Without any companions, Tom Baker's left to carry the show, and it's one of his best performances. Still in season 14, a few stories later, we have The Robot of Death from 1977. The Doctor is now travelling with Leela, a primitive savage from another planet, and they investigate a murder mystery on a mining vessel full of decadent nobles and sinister robots. The sets and costumes are excellent, the robot designs are wonderful, and the twisty-turny script keeps you guessing as to who the real killer is. So it's a definite classic. The following story, The Talons of Weng-Chiang, is also on my list. Including it might be somewhat controversial, as there's a lot of elements in it that would be considered racist by modern standards. All the Chinese characters are depicted as violent savages, and the only one who isn't is evil, and played by a white man in yellow makeup. So it's not one that I can recommend wholeheartedly, but it's incredibly well written and performed. It looks fantastic, with the excellent sets and locations combining to give a feel of Victorian London, and it's got some of the best characters in all of Doctor Who. So it's well worth watching if you can handle it. Fast forwarding to season 16 now, and The Rebus Operation from 1978. This is the first story of the Key to Time arc, and probably one of the best, as the Doctor meets his new assistant, the Time Lady Romana, and is given a mission to collect all the pieces of the Key to Time. It doesn't completely take over the show, but it does give the season a bit more focus than usual. This story started off in excellent style, with a wonderful script full of great characters. And if you want to follow the story from there, the rest of the season is also worth watching. Next I'll go with City of Death, from season 17 in 1979. The Doctor is still travelling with Romana, but here she is played by Lalla Ward, who Tom Baker went on to marry. And in this one it definitely shows. Their chemistry is palpable in their scenes together. It's full of wonderful scenes of the two of them strolling through Paris and exchanging witty dialogue. It's written by Douglas Adams, and it's his best script for the series by far. Full of quotable lines and performed flawlessly by the cast, including Julian Glover as the villain Scaroth. But as well as the humour, there's also an elaborate sci-fi time travel plot in there as well. So if I was going to rank these, this would definitely be top. Finally, we've come to Tom Baker's final season, season 18 from 1980. This contains a lot of really good stories. Warrior's Gate is wonderfully weird and surreal, and Legopolis has a brooding darkness all of its own. But it's hard to recommend them to newcomers, as they really do rely on what's been established in the previous stories. Instead, I will recommend watching Full Circle. It's a great jumping on point for the season. You've still got the Doctor and Romana and K9 from before. It introduces the new companion Adric, for better or worse. And it's a good solid sci-fi story. And from there you can just carry on and watch the rest of the season if you want. So that's my pick of Tom Baker stories. For fuller reviews, feel free to look back through this channel for reviews of every story from this era. And there's also a playlist which I've linked to in the description. And press subscribe if you want to see my continuing reviews of every story from the 5th Doctor era onwards, every Monday here on YouTube. See you next time.